My name is Matt Insley. I am the Senior Marketing Manager at Overdrive, and I'm here at ISTE this year in Denver talking about all things digital reading with Sora, our app where students read.
Okay, great. So I know there's some new things about this, and it actually is a app where you can assign books based on the reading level of the individual student, which is huge for teachers, right?
Correct.
Because they're trying to personalize learning and give students appropriate level materials. But there's some other interesting things about it, like you can give materials that are slightly above the reading level or slightly below. You want to talk about that for a sec?
Correct, yeah. Librarians and teachers are able to curate their own content and assign different reading levels to different students based on their ability, their reading level as well. So if they want to challenge maybe some of their upper level students, they can assign them certain titles where they can maybe give a little bit more and enlighten their experience and just be a little bit more ahead of where where maybe fellow students are, might be behind. But we also offer tools for those students that might have a little bit of a struggle to help accelerate their knowledge as well. If they get stuck on a word, we have a feature called Read to Me, where the student can highlight a word or a sentence, and Sora actually reads that to them back so they can understand and really get the most out of their reading experience.
Yeah, learn to articulate those words
Correct.
themselves correctly. Yeah, that's a big deal because I know I've mispronounced words
All
in
the time.
public that I've read, and then other people are like, "No, that's not the way you say that."
And then in your own reading, right? If you're
Yeah.
reading on a Kindle or
Yeah.
anything like that, just highlighting and getting the definition or the pronunciation is very, very impactful. I do that almost on a daily basis in my own life. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine how useful it is to the student that has that. And it also kind of builds their confidence, right?
Oh yeah.
So they can do this on their own and actually hear the pronunciation. So if they ever have to read aloud, they might feel more comfortable with that as well. So it's really some exciting things that Sora offers to the classroom. And thinking back, so that anxiety as a younger student where you kind of sit there and you don't call on me, don't call on me.
Yeah.
I feel like Sora can give those students a confidence level as well because we give them the tools to help understand and learn kind of in their own setting.
Right. Yeah, totally true. It's so funny because I picked up an actual paperback book not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and I was reading through it and there was a word in there that I didn't quite understand, and I tried to poke on it in the paperback.
Right. I've done that as well.
Because I'm so used to reading on digital, right?
Absolutely.
So it's almost like, oh, paper is really disappointing me now because it's not interactive. And I really believe that this generation is a lot like that. Do you see that?
Absolutely, and what we found too, in some of our offerings through Sora, it's not only just reading, we also offer audiobooks. So that's another really good feature because every child kind of learns in a different manner.
Yes.
So we have audiobooks where they can listen to their own story or listen to that story. Then we also have the actual words on screen, so to speak, they can follow along. We also have books that are read along. So it's almost like, think of like the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
It is read to them, but then highlights the words as it's being read, so they can really match. I feel like Sora can match various different reading styles of really any student, and really kind of meet them where they are in their reading journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And that also gets their mind to sort of follow along at the same cadence as speech.
Correct.
In terms of their reading, which not a lot of people really have that skill early on. So that's important.
Absolutely. And depending on what stage they are, we offer different packages of, more, supersonic phonics that are phonics based. So for younger early readers, they can kind of get the baseline, but then all the way up to, your more advanced readers and your more eager readers. And then there's different formats as well. We offer subscription services to comic books, manga, I mentioned audiobooks and ebooks. So there's a very wide variety that really can reach really any student in the classroom for what they're interested in.
Right, and you're probably bundling a bunch of things together as a library for a school, correct?
Absolutely. We have different curated collections.
Okay.
Where we also make it a little bit easier for the librarian themselves.
Yeah.
So we have different subscription models based where we know that everybody wants the Diary of the Wimpy Kids or books like that. Well, we have curated collections that are in a subscription model where the cart is already built. The librarian can go in and just select that. They get the titles into their Sora account, and then they can spend more time on the analytics and those things. So they're not going through and just searching for individual titles
Right.
and curating a collection or building a cart. They can certainly do that, but the subscription model allows them that, kind of gives them the gift of time, so to speak,
Yeah.
so they can kind of get those essential things that we know that they want
Yeah.
in one click, and it's in their collection.
Wow. Is there anything you're doing then also in Overdrive to do recommendations engines based on like a learner's interest?
That's
like a form of AI,
yeah,
right?
that is in the works. There's a lot of talk. If we are look around ISTE, you can't walk 5 feet without getting hit with AI.
Right.
So at Overdrive, we're also looking into that and looking how we can integrate that, whether it's recommended titles, or we call it read alikes. If you like this book, how about this book or this book, something like that. So things are in the works for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of different AIs that are coming into play. I mean, people are here talking a lot about generative AI, which is something to do something for you, like a work product, right? Like an essay or something, or write a lesson. Mm-hmm. Recommendations engine AI has been around for a while. So is machine learning AI and embedded AI, like Internet of Things, where your device can talk to you and say, how about this book, right? Or whatever. And now there's spatial temporal AI in the market. There's just a ton of new things. Right. And I don't think people are really understanding all of them.
Yeah.
So a company like yours using different forms of AI, I would expect that you're probably looking at that, but I don't know that people understand all the things
and
that could be done.
It changes so much and so often, almost hourly it seems. There's something new or something new. So there's a lot of learning and then making the right corrective steps or taking the right actions to integrate that. And then there's always that, I think, because it's moving so quickly and it's so powerful and so new to the general populace, that there might be some consternation, especially with kids. I myself, I have two daughters. They're 8 and 5, and there's always that thought of like, okay, what's their learning experience going to be like, and how is this going to work? And my wife is a high school teacher, and she teaches English, so she's seeing that crop up where one day she gets a paper of a student that is written in a certain way, and then the next week there's a completely different vocabulary level and written. She's like, hey, how'd this happen overnight? So you're seeing it used in the classroom already to some extent, and it's just finding that balance of what's going to work and what is appropriate.
Wow, so those are really interesting elements, right? Like I'd want to take that kid with that second essay that uses much more sophisticated words and spot check them on the word definitions.
Correct.
As a teacher, like I'd be like calling them out on it.
Correct. And I think there's also kind of anti-AI or AI learning software for teachers that can use to kind of run through like, hey, was this used?
Oh yeah. I know. All right. Well, this is an interesting time, but what I really like about what you're doing is you're providing mass title access in one library. Because if you really think about it, the alternative in the consumer market is you buy one at a time.
Exactly.
Right? And you got to add it into your library,
And we're doing more
that
things
would not work in a school. Like it's versus the time of the paper books, that just doesn't
Absolutely. And we offer things like curriculum class sets and things like that teachers can get kind of short-term, or access to a class set of books for a period of time where it's, they have a book for every student, as opposed to the old way, filling out the PO, getting the shipping, all of the books in. And then if they decide not to teach that set in the future, you have 25 to 30 books just laying around like, well, what do I do with these?
Yeah, totally. Well, also, I think you're probably having huge success with the more rural districts where they've got kids, like maybe they're like some of the South and North Dakota schools. Some of those kids are so far away on farms that they really only hold on-campus schooling a couple days a week.
Right.
Because so the kids are remote, and they're not going to be able to go into the physical library and check things in and out all the time. Yeah.
And not only does Sora, Sora is available in the classroom, but it goes with them. It's it's the digital library essentially in your pocket. It can be on their Chromebook or their phone if they have one, and then they can also send send books to a Kindle if they have that.
Right.
So it's really, it follows them around. It's like having access to all this great content and books right in your pocket or on whatever device you might access.
Which is fun, because if you are one of those more rural or even suburban districts where kids are on the bus, even for half an hour, even 20 minutes, they can pop that up.
Absolutely.
Wi-Fi's on buses now.
Yeah.
And they can do their reading while they're just riding around if they're not beating up other kids on the bus.
True.
So this has been super fun. What are you hoping to have happen here?
So it's been very, very fun to see the different presentations and the different partnership opportunities we have. We just did this morning a co-presentation with a partner of ours that we just recently started working with called Book Creator, which is outstanding because they have created a special asset for us for our summer reading program. So we have a summer reading program called Sora Sweet Reads, where we give access to, this year we have 200 titles that we've given to our users for free to promote summer literacy and giving kind of bridging that gap between end of school year to the new school year and allowing a reading program. Well, we've partnered with Book Creator, and they've created this wonderful resource also for free that students can basically make a digital book report of what they've read during the summer.
Wow.
So it's a way for them to kind of catalog and see and really, when they go back to school, show what they read over the summer and show what they did in a really fun and interactive way. So looking for other like-minded companies like us that really love and are passionate about engaging students in literacy and reading, and how can we partner and just really help promote. Again, at the end of the day, it's all about helping students read.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.